Hi friends, welcome back to my class on Unacademy, and today's class is about how to manage your time on uh, while doing the reading section in the IELTS. And as you all know, we need to manage our time really well for the simple reason that you have to answer 40 questions, all of different types, in an hour's time, and that includes time to transfer your answer onto the answer sheet. So before I get started on the different tips and how to best answer your questions within the stipulated time, let me first introduce myself. My name is Shilpi Agrawal, and I go by the referral code Shilpi on Unacademy. And I am a qualified masterclass IELTS trainer from the British Council. May I inform you that the British Council is the sorry, sorry, just 1 minute. That the British Council is the institute which organizes the IELTS examination in India and also appoints the examiners. So I have been trained by the British Council to teach the IELTS, and so I can assure you that I know the format of the exam in and out, and also what are the different requirements. It's not just that you know the format and you go and crack the exam. It's not that. There are certain skills that you need to learn. There are certain vocab that you need to understand. The paraphrasing and skills of reading, skills of writing, how to speak in the formal and the informal register. And as far as listening is concerned, you're supposed to be multitasking. So I know the program or the exam in deep details because I have been trained by the British Council. So that's one. That is not the only thing that makes these classes a little unique, if I may say so myself. It's also because I have been trained with by the British Council to in the CELTA certificate. I have the CELTA certificate, which is an intense course held by the British Council to teach English to speakers of other languages. And this certification is actually awarded by the Cambridge University uh, after a lot of very precise teaching classes that we have to hold as trainees over there. And only once they are satisfied with their standards of that we are teaching in their standard of teaching other people, then only you are given the certificate at all. So I have got number one, as you can see here. I've got the certification, the IELTS Masterclass certification for the IELTS examination, the CELTA certification to teach English to speakers of other languages. Now, who are the speakers of other languages? It's people whose first language or mother tongue is not English. It's people like you and me. Uh, I could I could enroll into this class because I'm a proficient speaker of the language, but I need to teach the language so that my students can become proficient speakers of the language. So it's not about learning up the rules of grammar and remembering what to say one after the other. It's more about understanding the language and being able to apply it in your day-to-day usage. So I'm very proud to say that I got a gradation B in my CELTA, which only 10 to 12% of the people in the world ever achieve. Uh, Now, this I'm very proud of, although it says here a gradation B. But as you can imagine, it's a percent. This is a percentage that I belong to, and so CELTA is held in almost every country of the world in all the major cities. And people who are proficient users of the English language can only enroll for this. And as I said before, once you have gone through a very grueling course, you are observed by professors from the Cambridge University, and only when they are satisfied do you pass the examination. So, going through all that and then getting a grade B is quite an achievement. And grade A is awarded to only 1 or 2% of the people in the world. It's almost never awarded. So, yes, I wish I could belong to grade A, but I managed the grade B. So, that makes me a teacher efficient enough to understand where your issues could be pertaining to the IELTS examination, because when you're appearing for the IELTS, you don't need to know all aspects of grammar in English. There are few things that you must pay attention to. It's not possible, like if you're giving your IELTS examination in a couple of months' time and you have only 1 or 2 months to prepare yourself, you can't be learning all about everything about the English grammar. So, my job is to zone down to the areas of grammar that are required for you in the IELTS, to teach that to you really well, and so that you can get your desired band score, or perhaps a higher band score than you desire. And I myself achieved an overall band score of 8.5% in 8.5 in IELTS, which helped me achieve this masterclass training certificate in the IELTS. So you can also find me. I can't find my cursor actually. 1 minute. So if you choose to go by the referral code Shilpi, this is my referral code on Unacademy. So if you subscribe for this referral code, you will get a 10% discount, instant 10% discount. And for a month, if you only take it for a month, it comes to about 2,400 something rupees. And I would highly, although I don't want to be pushing for subscriptions and everything, but it's a smart move for all of you to first prepare for the examination and then apply for the examination, because each examination that you apply for costs about 13 to 14,000 rupees, which if you are not well prepared with the format and the language required and the different categories that you need to fulfill, you are wasting. So I would strongly recommend that you come, you enroll with this amount of money, prepare yourself, familiarize yourself, practice with me, and then go in for the 13 or spend the 13, 14,000, and you will at once get the result that you want. I'm also available on Telegram channel. Telegram, if you use it, it's like WhatsApp. And if you look for IELTS with Shilpi, that's the name of my channel. You can post your doubts on this channel here, and I will for sure get back to you. You can post your written answers, or you can post your grammatical doubts, whatever you want. I will certainly get back to you with the answers. I will connect with you, and I will address your queries. So I think I've said enough. So I hope you enjoy the class today. And if you listen carefully, surely you're going to be it is going to be well worth the time spent. So in today's class, we are going to discuss three things majorly. Number one, why time management is a problem for most students. The next one, the common mistakes that most students make. And then I'm going to give you a few suggestions for good time management. All right, so the first one, why time management is a problem? Well, if you don't manage your time well in the IELTS reading section, then you don't have enough time to answer all your questions correctly. What happens is, if you don't know why how much time I should spend for a particular section, you may tend to spend too much time on that section, and so for the rest of the paper you don't have enough time, so you're rushing through that, and obviously you're not able to answer most of your questions in that case. So if you don't have enough time, it obviously builds stress and it leads to more mistakes. So I really need to practice how I'm going to address each section of the reading test of the IELTS, so that I'm able to give my 100% and get as many answers correct as possible, because 40 questions is equal to 40 marks. And today I have not shared the weightage of the raw marks with the band score, but if you watch my other classes on Unacademy, you will be able to see the raw marks as compared to the band score that you will get. And so it's really important that you try and get as many answers correct as possible within the stipulated time, which is 1 hour, where you have to read, understand, and write the answer and then transfer it onto the answer sheet. The common mistakes that most candidates make, and which I found while in my experience of teaching the IELTS, the first one is not leaving enough time to fill in the answer sheet. Those who have practiced or have tried to appear or have appeared for the IELTS before know that you get a question paper where the passage is there and the questions are also there, and you can do all your rough work, all your working out on that question paper. But that is not submitted to the examiner. There is an answer sheet. You have to finally transfer all your answers very neatly onto the answer sheet, and the answer sheet is only submitted and is going to be evaluated. So unfortunately, most students, they are so busy completing the exam that they don't leave enough time to transfer the answers. So maybe the question paper has got most of the answers correct, but because it's not been transferred onto the answer sheet, you don't score well because the examiner hasn't seen those answers. Losing focus is the next one. As you may know, it's for 1 hour sitting and reading and trying to solve questions, it can be very trying, and it's very easy to lose focus on the activity itself. You will start out really fresh, but by the end of it you are tired. So we have to really focus on, we have to know which section of the IELTS reading am I most comfortable with. Mentally, I have to be prepared that I'll get this type of question and I can get that kind of question. And so I need to be focused on each and every part, each and every type of the question that is there, that is asked. Spending an equal amount of time for each question. As I said, 40 questions, it might sound really sensible to spend 40 minutes, 1 minute for each question. But some questions may be a little more difficult than others, and some questions may be a little more easier than the others. So that is not a very wise decision to take, that I'm going to spend 1 minute per question and I'm going to get time to correct, check my answers and transfer them. Okay, even though your teachers, if you're going to your teachers for tuitions, they will also perhaps suggest that, but you should take a call on that. Skimming too much. Now, as you know, and I'm going to be doing some skimming activities. I mean, not really activities. We are going to be figuring out what you should skim, what you should scan, and where you're required to do close reading. But skimming means basically you are quickly going through the entire text to just get a general idea of what the text is about or what the passage is about. So the mistake that most students make is that because they've been asked to skim and scan, they just think that skimming is going to get me the answers. That leads to a lot of wastage of time, because if you're not focusing, the questions are very particular. If you're not being able to focus on where your answer is and you're just interested in getting a general idea, it'll take you longer to answer that question. Not only will it take you longer to answer the question, you're probably going to get it wrong because you have not paid close attention to whether you're really answering the question that is asked or giving a general answer. So that's another mistake. You don't only skim in the reading section, you need to apply other techniques also. The next one, doing exactly what your teacher says. Of course, the teacher is trying to help you to get your best score possible, but every individual is different, and uh, the tricks that the teacher has told you or given you, and the tips that the teacher has asked you to apply for each section of the reading passage may be very good tips, but because you are a different individual, there are many ways of solving the same problem. So you might have another way that suits you better. So try, although you should listen to what the teacher says, but at the end you have to take a call whether what her tip or trick is really suiting you or not, or you need to apply your own. And the last one, not reading in English. Well, this is an English examination. It is testing your skills of reading, listening, speaking, writing in English. So if I am not reading enough in English, obviously I'm not going to be comfortable with the language. I'm not going to be able to understand the contextual meaning. I'm not going to be able to paraphrase very easily. I'm not going to be able to build a vocabulary. So it's not going to finally lead me, even though I know the format in and out, the different types of questions in and out, but I don't have the basic requirement of knowing the language. So candidates focus more on solving the paper rather than reading the language itself. So what are my suggestions? Suggestion 1, you have to use the 3 reading skills. That is, again, I can't find my cursor. Um, that is skimming, scanning, and close reading. So, as I just said, skimming is when you are quickly reading through the text to just get a general idea of what it is trying to say and not a in-depth reading. You are trying to get a fair idea. All right, that's when you skim. Scanning, you scan when you're looking for a particular detail. It may be a name of a person or a place, or it may be a date, or it may be an address. Particularly when you're looking, or a phone number, you know, particular information you scan for. So this is when you scan. You don't have to read the entire passage. You can see a number and you're probably looking for a phone number. So when I see a longish number, that could be a phone number. So I immediately read that. That's called scanning. And of course, close reading is when you read for detail. You read by paying attention to the details. Now, obviously, it's not possible for everyone to read all the 3 sections of the IELTS reading test in detail. You're going to be wasting a lot of time. So, I should know when to skim, when to scan, and when to do close reading. Now, let's see. I've given you 2 or 3 questions, and you've got to decide for this particular kind of activity, should you be skimming or should you be scanning? So you have picked up a book on dinosaurs and you have to decide whether to borrow it or not. Would you skim or scan? Very often we go to the library or we go to the bookstore and we like the look of a particular book. Obviously, you can't do close reading at that time. You've got to quickly, borrow the book or buy the book. So, how do I know whether this book is going to, I'm going to like this book or not? What's the general idea of this book? We normally go turn the book to the back cover. There's a blurb there, and we quickly read through. We are looking for the general idea of what's there in the book, and that is called skimming. I'm trying to get what the book is about. It's about dinosaurs, but what about dinosaurs? I want a general information about that. I'm going to skim. The next one, you've got a book on football in front of you and you want to know who won the premiership in the year 2005. Who won? The question is who won the premiership. So I'm obviously looking for the name of a person or a team. Okay, so in this question, you have to specifically look for the name of a person or a team. So when I'm looking for a particular specific information, I can easily scan. I don't need to skim also. I don't want a general idea. I know what the book is all about, but I know I want this particular information, so I'm going to scan for it. I'm going to look for a name. The next one. Your mom has asked you to find the phone number of a plumber in the local pages. Again, this is again very easy. You're looking for a phone number, you scan for a number, and you get the answer. That's when you scan. Why I'm asking you these questions is because candidates or students who come to me don't know the difference between skimming and scanning. They sometimes think it's the same thing, but it's not. Skimming is looking for the general idea of the text, and scanning is looking for specific information uh, in the text, phone numbers, and so on and so forth. And last but not the least, close reading for these type of questions. When you're given a passage and perhaps a word is selected from the passage and you have to tick the correct answer, multiple choice this is, and you have to, the meaning which is the closest in this text to this particular word. For example, the audience became increasingly restless. His verbosity had reduced many of them to looking at their watches as he went on and on and on and on. And the question, the multiple choice question is, the word verbosity here means. I now have to verbosity here. Okay, so I'm looking for contextual meaning. In this context, what does this word mean? So I need to know what this passage says for me to be able to answer option A, B, C, or D. So that is when I'm going to look into the passage quite closely, especially the sentence before the word. Say this is the word that has appeared. So I'm definitely going to read this sentence very clearly. And if I still don't understand the meaning, then the sentence before this and the sentence after this. I'm not going to read the entire text even then, because you will get the meaning either in that very sentence where the word is mentioned, or the sentence before it, or the sentence after it. So you are answering the question without reading the entire passage in all three cases and getting most likely getting your answer correct. The next tip, suggestion 2, fill in answers. Now there are two ways that students prefer doing this. The first one is, as I told you, there is no extra time given after 1 hour for you to fill up the answer sheet. It's within that 1 hour that you have to fill in the answer sheet. So either you fill in the answer sheet as you go, as you are getting your answers correct on the question paper, you fill it up in the answer sheet. So you know that you've answered 20 questions, you've got 20 answers on the answer sheet. If you find that distracting, many students find that very distracting, then you should leave time at the end of the paper, at the end, maybe 10 minutes at the end, to transfer your answer neatly onto the answer sheet. This is where you need to decide which technique suits you better, whether it is filling up the answers as you go or whether it is leaving time at the end. Suggestion 3, give more time to difficult questions. Of course, as I said earlier, some questions are more difficult than others, and some questions are really very easy. So you don't need to spend 1 minute per question. You can, the easier ones you are finishing in 10 to 15 seconds perhaps. So do that quickly, move on, and you can spend more time on the ones that are more difficult for you, and you'll still be able to balance out your time. Suggestion 4, reading, you have to read. It's a skill and you must practice it, especially for you, it's a foreign language. So it is always advisable for you to read as much as possible. Now, I can say, you should read passages that are very similar to your reading academic or reading general and so on and so forth. No. Here you need to read to expose yourself to the language. So you should read things that you enjoy reading. Pick a genre that you like knowing about, or but not frivolous work, of course. The internet is full of different types of reading material. If you enjoy reading about fashion, read all about it on the internet. If you like cookery, you can read about that. If you like, classical novels, read those. Wherever you're exposed to new vocabulary, wherever you are able to, the more you read, the more grammar you understand. Even you may not know the name of the grammar, but you know how a sentence is constructed. And so reading is going to help you in every which way. Suggestion 5, approach each question type differently. So as I said, the IELTS has about 14 different types of questions. In the reading section, in those 40 questions, you have these 14 different types. And each question type you should be approaching in a different, you should strategize differently to answer. I have done, if you look into Unacademy, I have already practiced and explained the techniques for yes, no, not given questions, and true, false, not given questions, and matching headings with paragraph. So these two techniques are completely different. So for all these true false not given, matching heading questions, matching paragraph information questions, summary completion questions, sentence completion questions, multiple choice questions, list selections. I mean, just look at the number of types of questions that you have to answer. Choosing a title, categorization, matching sentence endings, table completion, flow chart, so on and so forth. So for each one, I should know what strategy I should have to be able to answer best. And suggestion 6, everyone is different, like I just said. So even though your teacher, with all his or her goodness of heart, is trying to help you get the most number of questions correct, perhaps that strategy is not suiting you. You may have a better strategy that suits you. So you should find out what that is, and you should apply it, and it'll get you a lot of good, a better band, definitely. So don't stick to one thing that you have heard and that's the only way. No, this is not the only way. There are many ways of approaching it, and you should know what works for you and do it. And last but not the least, practice. you know, even proficient users, I would talk about myself, although I'm very proficient in the usage of the language, if I had not practiced for my IELTS examination, if I had not familiarized myself with the format and all these different skills that I just spoke to you about in short, this is a very short version of what you can do, it would have not been possible to get the band that I got, because the format is very different from what we do in other examinations. The question types for each section, whether it's listening, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, are very different, and the IELTS know where to catch you, where you are not really talking like a native speaker. So you need to be very familiar with the format. You need to practice. You need to read. You need to build up a vocabulary for yourself, which you can use. You need to know some of the grammar rules. You need to know which tenses to use. You need to know your punctuations. And all this takes practice. Even though you know it, when it comes to the examination, sometimes we are flummoxed and we make mistakes. And the minute you make mistakes, your band comes down. So, nothing like practice. Practice makes you better. So, please do it. All right. So, I'm going to sign off now. Again, I will remind you of my referral code Shilpi on Unacademy. This is my referral code. And please subscribe for this so that you get a 10% discount for a month. I am a masterclass IELTS trainer, and a CELTA qualified teacher. And my Telegram channel is IELTS with Shilpi. So please do connect with me on this. I'll sign off now. Bye bye.